everyone. Welcome for today's lecture. Have you ever asked questions like, does this new study method actually improve grades? Did our marketing campaign really boost sales, or it was that just a random luck? Are there real difference between groups, or the pattern we see just by chance? These questions cannot be answered by guesswork or intuition alone. We need solid evidence based proof. That is exactly what hypothesis testing is for. Objectives. At the end of this chapter, the intended learning outcomes are understand the basic principles of hypothesis testing, value the use of hypothesis testing to test a mean or a proportion.
Let's begin with our first concept, hypothesis testing. Constructing confidence intervals is one method to use estimate population parameters. But another important statistical method to test claims regarding population parameters is called hypothesis testing. It also says here that it is an important tool for data scientists where it is used to draw conclusions using sample data, and it is also used to quantify uncertainty associated with these conclusions. So today, again, we will talk about hypothesis testing. It is an important concept in statistics and data science. Hypothesis testing helps us make decisions using data. Instead of guessing, we use evidence to check if a claim is true or not. Hypothesis testing is a method used to test a claim about a population using sample data. It helps us answer questions like, is this result new or just due to chance?
Types of hypotheses. First, null hypothesis. It represents a statement of no effect or no change in the population. The null hypothesis provides a statement that the value of a population parameter is equal to a value. This means no effect or no change. For example, the average delivery time is 30 minutes. Second, alternative hypothesis. It is a complementary statement to the null hypothesis and make a statement that the population parameter has a value that differs from the null hypothesis. This means there is an different or effect. For example, the delivery time is more than 30 minutes. These two are opposites and only one can be true. For our discussion, we will examine hypothesis testing methods for claims involving means or proportion. Hypothesis testing can also be performed for standard deviation or variance, though that is beyond the scope of this text.
Steps in hypothesis testing. Testing claims based on one sample. Number one, state the hypothesis, null and alternatives. Set up a null and alternative hypothesis based on the claim. Identify whether the null or the alternative hypothesis represents the claim. Number two is collect the sample data. Collect relevant sample data to investigate the claim. Number three is choose a statistical method like z-test or t-test. Determine the correct distribution to be used to analyze the hypothesis test. Example is normal distribution or t-distribution. Number four is calculate the test statistic and p-value. Analyze the sample data to determine if the sample data is consistent with the null hypothesis. This will involve statistical calculations involving what is called a test statistic and a p-value. Number five is make a decision. It's either reject null hypothesis or fail to reject null hypothesis. If the sample data is inconsistent with the null hypothesis, then the decision is to reject the null hypothesis. If the sample data is consistent with the null hypothesis, then the decision is to fail to reject the null hypothesis.
How to determine the null and alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis is labeled as HHO and it is a statement of equality. For example, The null hypothesis might state that the mean time to complete an exam is 42 minutes. For example, the null hypothesis will be written as HHO mu equal 42 minutes, where the notation mu refers to the population mean time to complete an exam. The null hypothesis will always contain one of the following three symbols: equal, lesser than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. The alternative hypothesis is labeled HA and will be the complement of the null hypothesis. For example, if the null hypothesis contains an equal symbol, then the alternative hypothesis will contain a not equal symbol. If the null hypothesis contains a greater than or equal to symbol, then the alternative hypothesis will contain a lesser than symbol. If the null hypothesis contains a lesser than or equal to symbol, then the alternative hypothesis will contain a greater than symbol. Note that the alternative hypothesis will contain one of the following three symbols: not equal to, lesser than, or greater than. To write the null and alternative hypothesis, start off by translating the claim into a mathematical statement involving the unknown population parameter. Depending on the wording, the claim can be placed in either the null or the alternative hypothesis. Then, write the complement of this statement as the other hypothesis.
A basis of hypothesis test procedures is to assume that the null hypothesis is true to begin with and then to examine the example data to determine if the sample data is consistent with the null hypothesis. Based on this analysis, you will decide it's either to reject the null hypothesis or to fail to reject the null hypothesis. So it is important to note that these are only two possible decisions for any hypothesis test. So first is reject the null hypothesis or fail to reject the null hypothesis. So let us keep in mind that this decision will be based on statistical analysis of sample data. So there is a small chance of coming to a wrong decision. The only way to be absolutely certain of your decision is to test the entire population, which is typically not feasible. Since hypothesis test is decision based on the sample, there are two possible errors that can be made by the researchers. So the researchers reject the null hypothesis when in fact that the null hypothesis is actually true or a type 1 error. The second is a researcher failed to reject the null hypothesis when the null hypothesis is actually false or a type 2 error.
In hypothesis testing, the maximum allowed probability of making a type 1 error is called the level of significance, which denoted by the Greek letter alpha. From a practical standpoint, the level of significance is the probability value used to determine when the sample data indicates significant evidence against the null hypothesis. This level of significance is typically set to a small value, which indicates that the researcher wants the probability of rejecting a true null hypothesis to be small. So, once the null and alternative hypotheses are written and a level of significance is selected, the next step is for the researcher to collect relevant sample data from the population under study. It's important that a representative random sample is selected as discussed in handling large data sets. After the sample data is collected, two calculations are performed: test statistics and p-value.
The test statistic is a numerical value used to assess the strength of evidence against a null hypothesis and is calculated from the sample data that is used in hypothesis testing. As noted in estimating parameters with confidence intervals, a sample statistic is a numerical value calculated from a sample of observations drawn from a larger population such as a sample mean or sample proportion. The sample statistic is converted to a standardized statistic such as a z-score or t-score. based on the assumption that the null hypothesis is true. Once the test statistic has been determined, a probability or p-value is created. A p-value is the probability of obtaining a sample statistic with a value as extreme as or more extreme than the value determined by the sample data under the assumption that the null hypothesis is true. To calculate a p-value, you will find the area under the relevant probability distribution, such as finding the area under the normal distribution curve or the area under the t-distribution curve. Since the p-value is a probability, any p-value must always be a numerical value between 0 and 1 inclusive. When calculating a p-value as the area under the probability distribution curve, the corresponding area will be determined using the location under the curve, which favors the rejection of the null hypothesis as follows. Number 1, if the alternative hypothesis contains a less than symbol, the hypothesis test is called a left-tailed test, and the p-value will be calculated as the area to the left of the test statistic. Number 2, if the alternative hypothesis contains a greater than symbol, the hypothesis test is called a right-tailed test, and the p-value will be calculated as the area to the right of the test statistic. Number 3, if the alternative hypothesis contained a not equals symbol, the hypothesis test is called a two-tailed test, and the p-value will be calculated as the sum of the area to the left of the negative test statistic and the area to the right of the positive test statistic. The smaller the p-value, the more the sample data deviates from the null hypothesis. And this is more evidence to indicate that the null hypothesis should be rejected.
The final step in the hypothesis testing procedure is to come to a finalization regarding the null hypothesis. This is accomplished by comparing the p-value with the level of significance and applying the following rule. If the p-value is lesser than or equal level of significance, then the decision is to reject the null hypothesis. If the p-value is greater than level of significance, then the decision is to fail or reject the null hypothesis. Recall that these are the only two possible decisions that a researcher can deduce when conducting hypothesis testing.
Testing claims for the mean when the population standard is known. Recall that in the discussion for confidence intervals, we examined the confidence intervals from the population mean when population standard is known, the normal distribution is used. Or when the population standard deviation is unknown, t-distribution is used. We follow the same procedure when conducting a hypothesis test. So in this section, we discussed the hypothesis testing for the mean when the population standard deviation is known, although the population standard deviation is typically unknown. In some cases, a reasonable estimate for the population standard deviation can be obtained from the past studies or historical data.
Here are the requirements to use this procedure. A random sample is selected from the population. The sample size is at least 30, or the underlying population is known to follow a normal distribution. The population standard deviation, or sigma, is known. So, when these requirements are met, the normal distribution is used as the basis for conducting the hypothesis test. For this procedure, the test statistic will be a z-score, and the standardized test statistic is calculated as follows. Z equals x bar minus mu times sigma over the square root of n, where x bar is the sample mean, mu is the hypothesized value of the population mean which comes from the null hypothesis, sigma is the population standard deviation, and n is the sample size.
Testing claims for the mean when the population standard deviation is unknown. Recall that in a discussion for confidence interval, we examined the confidence interval for the population mean when the population standard deviation is known, normal distribution is used, or when the population standard deviation is unknown, t-distribution is used. We follow the same procedure when conducting hypothesis testing. In this section, we discuss one sample hypothesis testing for the mean when the population standard deviation is unknown. This is more common application of hypothesis testing for the mean in that the population standard deviation is typically unknown. However, the sample standard deviation can be calculated based on the sample data.
Here are the requirements to use this procedure. Number 1, a random sample is selected from the population. Number 2 is the sample size is at least 30 or the underlying population is known to follow a normal distribution. Number 3, the population standard deviation is unknown and the sample standard deviation is known. When these requirements are met, the t-distribution is used as the basis for conducting the hypothesis test. The t-statistic will be a t-score and the standardized test statistic is calculated as follows. T equals sample mean minus mu s divided by square root of n, where x bar is the sample mean, u is the hypothesized value of the population mean, which comes from the null hypothesis. S is the sample standard deviation and n is the sample size.
So, hello everyone, welcome again to this lecture video. So, again, we will talk all about hypothesis test. So, before that, let's recall what is hypothesis test means. So, hypothesis is a statement claiming that something is true. And then there are two types of hypothesis, which are the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. So what does it mean when we talk about null hypothesis? So null hypothesis is a statement claiming that there is no difference between two variables. Ibig sabihin na siya ang magsasabi na walang pagkakaiba ang dalawang bagay. Whereas the alternative will also the inverse of the null hypothesis. Siya ang kabaliktaran sa ating null hypothesis. It means na siya ang magsasabi na ang dalawang bagay ay may pagkakaiba. To better understand this hypothesis test, let's proceed with an example. But before that, let's know how to determine the null and alternative hypothesis. So, as you can see in the screen, we have the table of null and alternative. So, when we talk about null hypothesis, if the symbol is equal to, then our alternative will be not equal. If our sign is greater than or equal to, then our alternative will be less than. If our null hypothesis is less than or equal to, then our alternative will be greater than. So, kabaliktaran dapat yan sila. Paano natin malalaman kung anong test na gagamitin natin? Rather. So, when we talk about z-test, it says, diba? It says here that if population standard deviation is known and n or sample size is greater than or equal to 30. If t-test ang gagamitin natin if population standard deviation is unknown and or sample size is less than 30. Anong ibig sabihin nitong dalawa? So, z-test ang gagamitin natin if ang population standard deviation is known or ang sample size niya is mas mataas or equal to 30 siya. T-test naman if ang population standard deviation is unknown or mas mababa or mas maliit kaysa sa 30. Mamaya, ipapakita ko sa inyo kung paano nga ba to sila gagamitin or mas maintindihan nyo kung saan sila mas pwedeng gamitin. Now, let's proceed with an example. So, in this example, according to a 2021 survey, Filipinos spend an average amount of 150,000 pesos annually on housing, with 9,000 pesos standard deviation. A suburban community claims that the residents did not spend 150,000 pesos. The community used 48 residents. They found that these residents spent an annual average of 155,500 pesos. Is there sufficient evidence to support the claims at 0.05 level of significance? So, according daw to this survey, ang mga Filipinos daw ay gumastos ng mahigit one average amount of 150,000 ang taon. Pero ang suburban community claims na ang mga residente daw nila ay hindi gumastos ng 150,000 pesos. Ngayon, to make it easier for us to know this situation, by using hypothesis test, we have to, one of the tip is that you have to know the claim first. Kailangan mo muna kung alamin kung ano yung kiniklaim nito. So, in this case, the claim is already mentioned, which is the suburban community claims that the residents did not spend 150,000. So, from the claim itself, in this hypothesis test, we by using hypothesis test rather, dito natin makikita kung itong claim na to is may susuportahan ba siya or hindi siya susuport or supportahan. I mean, this claim will be supported or not by using hypothesis test. So, one of the tip, diba, na you have to know the claim, which is the 150 claims that the residents did not spend 150,000. From the word na did not spend, ano ang mas kaulugon niya, or when we turn it in the symbol sign, by using this table I show you all earlier, diba? From the word na did not spend, so wala nang iba kundi not equal sign or not equal to 150,000. So, from the word na did not spend 150,000, so not equal to 150,000. Ngayon, it mentioned from the previous discussion in this lecture video that the first step is you have to determine or you have to identify the null and alternative hypothesis. Since in our situation, we have the not equal to 150,000, ang not equal sign is belong to alternative. Kaya una natin ilalagay siya dito, which is mu is not equal to 150,000. Dahil, since ang kabaliktaran ng not equal sign is equal, which is your null, 'di ba? Sabi ko kanina na pag kabaliktaran ng null is the alternative. If your null is equal to, then ang kabaliktaran niya is not equal. Same as the alternative. If your alternative is not equal, then ang kabaliktaran niya naman ay equal sign. Kaya dito, makikita nyo sa ating presented that the alternative is not equal, then kabaliktaran niya is equal to. Ngayon, na-determine na natin ang alternative and null hypothesis. Let's proceed with the step 2. In step 2, you have to know the level of significance and you have to identify the test that you will use. So, here in this case, it mentioned na sa ating example the level of significance, which is 0.05 level of significance natin. Ngayon, which symbolizes, the level of significance symbolizes as alpha. In that, it presented alpha is equals to, or level of significance is equals to 0.05. Ngayon, paano nga ba natin ma-determine, di ba, ang test na gagamitin? In our situation, in our example, the 48 residents or 48 respondents, yan, Yan ang ating sample size. The community used 48 residents. Yan ang ating sample size. The 48 residents. Also is N is equals to 48, di ba? So, ngayon, di ba, kanina sabi ko na if Rn, sabi ko kanina, if population standard deviation is known and if our sample size is mas mataas or equal to 30, then our test that nagagamitin is z-test. Since 48 is mas mataas sa 30, then we will use the z-test. Ayan. In the screen, you see the z-test. Then we will graph the critical value. Now, saan nga ba makukuha yung 1.9? Now, we will graph the critical value. But first, you have to know the tail na or gagamitin natin, which is here in the screen, we have the two-tailed. Bakit nga ba two-tailed? Kasi, it mentioned from the previous slides, diba? If the alternative hypothesis contained a not equal sign symbol, the hypothesis test is called a two-tailed test. And the p-value will be calculated as the sum of the area to the left of the negative test statistics and the area to the right of the positive test statistic. Since our alternative here is not equal sign, then it is two-tailed sign or two-tailed siya. Kaya yan, makikita nyo sa screen na two-tailed siya. From the positive, from the right side to the left side, two-tailed siya. Shaded as two-tailed. And then, saan nga ba makikita itong 1.960 and negative 1.960? Yan ay makikita sa atin sa z-test.
Guys, dito natin mahanap ang equivalent value ng ating graph. Makikita nyo na sa babang parte ng graph na to ang z-value niya. Makikita nyo naman in upper portion may nakalagay na one-tail at two-tail. In that row, yan ang level of significance since in our example, it has two-tailed at ang level of significance niya ay 0.05. Kaya yan. Tapos, titignan mo papaibaba patungo sa z-value niya. So, ang equivalent niya ay 1.960. So, at ayan yung magiging critical value natin.
Since alam na natin ang the z-test or the critical value niya, ilagay natin both sides, positive 1.960 at negative 1.960. Ngayon, ang critical value natin is positive and negative 1.960. Ngayon, in step 3, let's know the evaluate na natin siya by using the formula that presented earlier, previous discussion here, which is z, since z-test ang ginamit natin, z is equals to sample mean minus the population mean or mu and the divided by standard deviation divided by the square root of sample size. As you can see in the screen, our N is 48, which is the 48 residents, and our population mean or the mu is 150,000, which is in our ginamit natin, which is our claim, and then our sample mean is equals to 155,500 and our standard deviation is 9,000. So, saan nga ba nakuha ang 9,000? It mentioned na sa ating example, in our example earlier na the 9,000 is the standard deviation, and our 155 is our spend, which are the resident spend an annual average of 155,500 pesos. Now, here, you have to substitute all the numbers or the given in our formula. So 155,500 minus 150,000 divided by 9,000 divided by the square root of 48. So it is equals to 4.23. Now let's proceed to the step. Since 4.23 siya, babalik tayo sa ating critical value. In our critical value, since 4.23 siya, it belongs, as you can see in the screen, may red line dyan, na belong siya sa critical value kasi nga positive 4.23 value, pasok siya sa critical value. Then, we have to make, this will be the part that we have to make a decision. Since pasok siya sa critical value, we have to reject the null and accept the alternative. So, ano ibig sabihin nito? So, since pasok siya sa critical value, i-reject natin ang ating null, which, di ba, ang null is the statement where the two variables has no difference, while as the alternative is kabaliktaran, may difference sila. Kaya in our decision, reject the null and accept the alternative. So to conclude, the claim of suburban community is true. Totoo daw na may sinabi ng ating, if we reject our null, then our claim will be true. So to conclude, the claim of suburban community is true. Ayan.
Dito din pala guys, in last step, the test will support the claim. Dito natin malalaman kung anong desisyon ang kailangan natin based sa nabuo nating retest. In rejecting the null, dapat ay kabaliktaran naman sa alternative. In that case, na kung saan na-reject ang null, na-accept ang alternative, ibig sabihin na may pagkakaiba sa kanila. If we conclude that there are sufficient evidence to support the suburban community's claim. In practical terms, this means the higher spending observed in the sample is statistically significant and not just a result of random chance. Therefore, we can confidently state that the residents in this specific community do not follow the national average of 150,000.
We also have hypothesis testing for proportion. Now, what is hypothesis testing for proportion? It is used to compare a proportion in one group to a specified population proportion. So for this procedure, the test statistics will be a z-score, and the standardized test statistics is calculated as follows. So as you can see in the screen presented, whereas the p-hat represents the sample proportion and p is the hypothesized value of the population proportion, which is taken from the null hypothesis, and n is the sample size. So as you can see in the screen, we have another formula. Ngayon, masasabi natin hypothesis for proportion ito kapag ang pinag-usapan ay porsyento o bahagi ng isang grupo, hindi average. Madalas itong may percent, fraction, o sagot na oo o hindi. So, sa madaling salita, kapag may porsyento ito o bahagi ng grupo ang sinusuri, hypothesis for proportion ang ginagamit. Punta tayo sa halimbawa. A businessman owning a fast food chain claims that 80% of his customers are very satisfied with the restaurant's service. To test this claim, a researcher surveyed 200 customers. 148 of them said that they were very satisfied. At 10.07 level of significance, test the claim of this owner. So, ganito lang yan. Pansin nyo yung claim ng owner. Ang sabi niya, 80% daw ng customer niya ay satisfied. Kapag nakikita kayo ng porsyento o fraction, tumutukoy sa bahagi ng isang grupo, yan ang unang clue na proportion ang hinahanap natin. Hindi tayo dito nag-uusap tungkol sa average ng height o score. Ang tanong lang natin dito ay ilan ba sa kanila ang satisfied o ilan ang hindi. So, isa pang technique na tignan natin is yung survey data sa ating screen. Makikita nyo na sa 200 na tao, may 148 na nagsasabi na satisfied daw sila. Kumbaga, nagbibilang lang tayo ng pasok sa kategorya dahil mayroon tayong target na percentage which is the 80% at mayroon tayong sample count na 148 out of 200. Sigurado na tayo na hypothesis test for proportion ang gagamitin natin para i-test ang claim na ito gamit ang 0.05 level of significance. Hypothesis testing for proportion, guys, it's the same process or it's still the same steps as the one sample ng ating hypothesis testing for one sample, which is yung z-test at t-test. Pero ang pagkakaiba lang dito is ibang formula ang gagamitin natin for proportion. Tapos, dito sa proportion, z-test lang ang ating gagamitin. Wala ng t-test. So, in this example, ang claim dito is ang 80%, which is you have to convert it into decimal point. Kaya, 0.8 siya. So, first thing dapat is you have to construct, use example, you have to construct first the null and alternative hypothesis, which is since our claim is equal to 80%, kaya 0.8 siya, we have to put it in the null since equal siya. So, the equal sign belongs to null. At ang kabaliktaran naman niya ng equal is not equal, which is that will be our alternative. So, not equal to 0.8. In the next step, you have to identify the level of significance, which we write as alpha is equals to 0.05, as mentioned sa ating example. Dito, hindi na tayo, isa lang ang test na gagamitin natin, which is the z-test. Since tapos, we have to identify the tail na gagamitin natin, which is in the alternative, which is the alternative hypothesis natin is not equal. Since not equal siya, gagamit tayo ng two-tail. Tapos, guguhit din tayo ng ating graph para sa ating critical value. As you can see in the screen that since two-tailed siya, kaliwat at kanan ang ating lalagyan or we have to shade the left and the right part. Tapos, makikita natin ang value ng ating, makikita natin ang critical value na sa z-table or sa z-test.
So dito guys, same process lang din from previous example ang pagkuha ng z-value niya, kung saan makikita natin sa itaas na parte ang two-tailed. Since yan yung kailangan ng ating example, hahanapin lang natin ang 0.05 dahil yan yung level of significance niya. At hahanapin natin pababa ang z-value niya para makuha natin ang equivalent value ng ating critical region, which is ang shaded part na equivalent to 1.960.
In this case, na nakita natin ang critical value niya sa z-test, we have the positive and negative 1.960. Yan yung magiging critical value niya. So, in step 3, we have to substitute all the given na binigay sa atin. So, in this case, the N is our sample size, which represent the sample size na 200. Then, our P is the 80% na kinonvert lang natin into decimal, which is represent as 0.8. Yan yung naging percent natin. Tapos, ang ating P, ang ating sample proportion is the 148 divided by 200. So, the 148 is yan yung 140 is yan yung mga nag-satisfied na mga customers. Tapos, na-divide natin siya sa 200 since 200 customers ang sinurvey nila. So, they surveyed 200 and then 148 of them said they were satisfied. So, you have to divide it. That's why we have 0.74. So, that will be our sample proportion, which you have to substitute all the given na dayon, which is Z is equals to 0.74 since that will be our sample proportion minus 0.8 since that is our population proportion divided by the square root of 0.8 times 1 minus 0.8 divided by 200, which results to negative 2.12. Pagkatapos niyan guys, same as process, para makabuo tayo ng decision, you have to identify the negative 2.12 sa ating critical value in our graph. So, since napasok siya or na-belong siya sa shaded part, kaya we have to make our decision, which is in the last step. Which is, since pasok siya sa ating critical value or the critical region, you have to reject the null and accept the alternative, which concludes that the claim of the owner is false daw.
In the hypothesis test for proportion, from our example, this means that at the 0.05 level of significance, there is sufficient evidence to reject the claim that 80% of the customers are very satisfied with the restaurant's services.
That concludes our discussion on hypothesis testing. We learned how to formulate null and alternative hypothesis, test assumption using the sample data, and make decision based on p-values and significance levels. These tools help us to draw reliable conclusion and make informed decision in research and in real life problems. So, thank you for watching.